Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about 3 easy portrait lighting setups that are perfect for small spaces. Now, if you guys are new here, my name is Kaylee June and I'm a beauty and portrait photographer. I have been doing beauty photography primarily for the last 4 years and working mainly in studio. So I really wanted to share some of my tips around some easy portrait lighting setups that you can use in a home studio, or you can even use them in a hired studio wherever you're working. These are really easy setups to use if you're a beginner. If you guys don't know, I had a home studio for quite a number of years, and that was how I shot most of the first part of my beauty portfolio. And it was a really great way to experiment with some really basic and simple lighting setups. So some of the things that I've learned from that time, I'm going to share with you today with these lighting setups, and let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the first lighting setup now, and this is one of my favorite easy lighting setups that you could possibly imagine. It is using one light. Now, all of the setups I'm going to be talking about today are either 1 or 2 lights, because obviously if you're working in a small space, you don't want to have too much room taken up by a lot of lights. And this first one is just going to be a single light setup that we're going to talk about. So this particular setup is a 1 light with an octabox, and this is also incorporating a reflector underneath the model's face. So I really love this setup. It is one that I've used time and time again, and especially if you're in a very small space, this is all you need to take some great shots. I really enjoy using octaboxes because I feel like they just emit the right amount of light for me to work with portraits. I really like using my mid-size octabox, but if you can't fit something like that in your home studio or in a smaller space where you're working, you can definitely get an octabox that is smaller. And I really love the light that they emit. They're very versatile. You can use grids, you can use diffusers to diffuse the light or shape the light whichever way you like. I even to an extent find them a little bit more versatile than beauty dishes themselves, because I tend to find that beauty dishes kind of emit one type of light unless you've got the diffuser with it. Octaboxes are usually relatively inexpensive and do come with quite a few sub modifiers as well, so it's one of my favorite modifiers to use. It's a very flattering modifier to use as well, so I've found that if I really just need a go-to lighting modifier, this is the one that I will always choose. It leaves really lovely catch lights in the eye, so it's great for portraits that way. And incorporating the reflector underneath, whether it be white or silver, is a really great way to help bounce the light back into the eyes a little bit more, and you kind of get that sparkly effect in the eyes. So this is one of my favorite easy setups, and any beginner can use this. I usually tend to place the light directly in front of the model, and I lift it high and angle it down into the model's face, so you kind of get that butterfly effect with the shadows under the nose. It's really flattering for most people, and I definitely recommend it as an easy go-to lighting setup. The second lighting setup I'm going to talk about today is more or less when you're incorporating some backdrops into your shot, and they might be colored backdrops or they might be textured, and you need to light them a little bit more. So sometimes when you're working in a very small setting, 1 light can be enough for this. But if you're working in a setting that's not very small and you do want to illuminate the backdrop more, I recommend this particular lighting setup for that. So this is involving using 2 lights, and I usually like to once again use an octabox or a beauty dish as the key light. Now the key light will be out in front, and this will be what is lighting the model's face. So once again, placing it directly in front of the model, about 1 meter or so away from them, lifting it high and angling it down towards the model's face to get those really flattering shadows, and then incorporating another light for the backdrop. So I usually tend to have this at kind of like a 45-degree angle off to the side out of shot. So that will kind of help illuminate the backdrop and help improve the colors if you're using a colored backdrop. It just kind of gives it that little bit of an extra oomph. And I tend to use a modifier like a softbox, like just a regular square softbox is really good for this, and that really helps diffuse the light, and there's not sort of any hot spots on the background that way. So as I said, as the key light, you can use an octabox or you can use a beauty dish, for example. Beauty dishes will definitely emit more of a harder light than an octabox will, but you can use diffusers to soften it once again. It does tend to pick up the highlights a lot better on the skin tone. So if you're looking at kind of having a very glowy look or something that you want a bit of shine to on the skin, using a beauty dish would be really good for this. And number 3, we're going to be talking about another different lighting setup with 2 lights incorporated. And this is something that you might have heard of before, but it is called clamshell lighting. So this would involve potentially using about 2 lights and you could use two softboxes. I've used square softboxes before, and you move them into kind of a soft V shape in front of the model. So once again, angled at a relatively good height, about 1 meter away from the model, and angled downwards so the light falls really flattering on the model's face. Now, the effect that this will give, like I said, is more of a wraparound light. It can give a very nice golden effect. It really adds some beautiful catch lights into the eyes, once again making them look very sparkly. It's a really, really beautiful light for a lot of different types of portraiture, and once again, it's very flattering. So it's a very easy lighting setup to create. You can also have your camera in the middle of the V that you're creating with the two softboxes on the side. So this is a really good way to shoot inside a small space. And I feel like it's not something that I've seen used too often these days, so I definitely recommend experimenting with this setup. It's very easy, as I said, and it will really give you that beautiful wraparound light. So this is actually one of the setups that I will be going into more detail in my new course that I will be releasing likely next year at this stage. So definitely stay tuned for that. It's a bit of a secret at the moment, but there'll definitely be a lot of beauty photography incorporated into this course, so stay tuned. Okay guys, so I hope you've really enjoyed this video on 3 easy portrait lighting setups that are perfect for small spaces. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure that you do. Please let me know some of your easy lighting setups for portraiture down in the comment section below, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would love to know lots of different configurations that they can use, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!